Hello everyone, and welcome back to Sveta's menu. Today, we're making a delicious savory pie with puff pastry, a flaky golden crust filled with salmon, spinach, and soft cheese. This recipe was requested by one of our lovely viewers, so thank you for the inspiration. It's quick, satisfying, and perfect for any time of day. Here's what you'll need for this recipe. 2 sheets of puff pastry, 275 grams each, total 550 grams, 400 grams fresh salmon, finely chopped, 200 grams fresh spinach, 1 clove of garlic, 1 tablespoon olive oil for sautéing spinach, 200 grams cream cheese, like Philadelphia, 100 grams feta cheese, cubed or crumbled, juice of 1 teaspoon of lemon, 2 eggs, 1 for the filling, 1 for brushing the top, salt and black pepper to taste, sesame seeds for topping, it's optional. Let's get started with the filling. Grab a mixing bowl. We'll combine everything right in here. Start by adding the soft cheese. I'm using cream cheese, something like Philadelphia. Make sure it's at room temperature so it blends smoothly and doesn't stay lumpy. Add the cubed feta cheese next. Then comes the spinach. I used about 200 grams of fresh spinach and wilted it in a pan with just a spoonful of olive oil. Let it cook until most of the moisture evaporates. I also added 1 clove of garlic while it was cooking. Garlic gives the spinach a little more depth without overpowering the other flavors. And if you don't have fresh spinach, frozen works just as well. Just make sure to thaw it and squeeze out any excess liquid so the filling doesn't turn watery. Crack in 1 egg. It helps bind everything together during baking and adds richness to the texture. Season with a little salt and some freshly ground black pepper. Keep in mind that the feta adds saltiness too, and I already seasoned the spinach during cooking. So go easy here. Give everything a good stir until the mixture is smooth and evenly combined. You can use a spoon or a spatula, whatever feels most comfortable. Just be sure everything's nicely mixed before we move on. This is the kind of mixing that feels almost therapeutic. You're not just stirring ingredients, you're building flavor, texture, and the heart of the pie. Next, fold in the chopped salmon. Salmon always brings something special to the table. It's one of the few fish that swims in both fresh and salt water, a traveler by nature. In Nordic countries, salmon is celebrated like a national treasure, used in everything from morning toast to elegant dinners. Here it's going to melt into our filling and bring that richness we love. Since the salmon I'm using isn't salted, I'm adding just a tiny pinch more. And let's squeeze in a bit of lemon juice. Lemon and salmon are like old friends. Always better together. Lemon wakes up the flavor and cuts through the creaminess just enough. And besides, there's something cheerful about lemon. A drop of sunshine right in the bowl. Don't overmix here. Those little chunks of feta are like flavor surprises. Feta always makes me think of sun-drenched hillsides in Greece. It's been made there for thousands of years, usually from sheep's milk, aged in barrels of brine, until it's perfectly crumbly and tangy. It's bold, slightly salty, and in this pie, it brings the character, the edge. And just like that, the filling is ready. Let's work on the pastry. Dust your surface with a bit of flour and roll out the first sheet of puff pastry. Puff pastry is pure kitchen magic. So many layers folded again and again with butter. It puffs in the oven because the butter turns to steam and lifts every delicate fold. It takes hours to make from scratch, but thank goodness for the store-bought version that gives us all the glory in half the time. Place the pastry on your baking tray and spoon over the filling, spreading it out gently. Leave a little edge all around. It's like building a frame for a beautiful painting. And yes, this pie will definitely be a masterpiece. As I spread the filling over the pastry, let me tell you a little about what's inside, because every ingredient here carries its own bit of history. Cream cheese, for example, was created by mistake in New York in the late 1800s, when a dairyman tried to recreate a French cheese and ended up with something softer, creamier, and now loved around the world. Spinach has roots in ancient Persia and was so admired in medieval Europe that it was nicknamed the Spanish vegetable. Garlic has been used for over 5,000 years, not just as food, but also as medicine. Ancient Egyptians even gave it to their workers for strength. Eggs, with their endless versatility, were once so revered in cooking that a chef's hat supposedly had 100 folds to represent 100 ways to cook them. Salt was once a form of currency, and pepper, known as black gold, was locked in chests like treasure. Let's get back to our amazing pie. Once the filling is spread out evenly, take the second sheet of puff pastry, roll it out just a bit to match the size of the first, and gently lay it over the top to cover the filling. Make sure the edges line up. We're almost ready to seal everything in. Press the edges together to seal the pie. You can pinch them with your fingers or use a fork if you want that classic bakery edge. It's a small detail, but it makes the pie feel finished, like tying a ribbon on a gift. Decorating pies is more than just making them look beautiful. It adds personality, charm, and sometimes even a hint about what's inside. A simple egg wash gives the crust a glossy, golden finish that looks irresistible straight from the oven. Scoring the surface with a few diagonal cuts not only adds a decorative touch, but also helps steam escape during baking. Sprinkling sesame seeds or herbs on top can enhance both texture and flavor. Let's brush the top with a beaten egg. This is where the magic happens. The moment the crust turns golden, shiny, and crisp. That color? It's all thanks to the proteins and fats in the egg, caramelizing in the heat. Never skip the egg wash. It makes all the difference. Lightly score the top with a few diagonal lines. Not only does it look beautiful, but it lets steam escape as the pie bakes. It's a practical little flourish, and a satisfying one. And just before we bake, I like to sprinkle some sesame seeds over the top. There's something comforting about sesame. These tiny seeds have been around since ancient Mesopotamia, and were even considered a symbol of immortality. Whether or not they live up to that is debatable, but they do add a lovely little crunch and toasty flavor. That's it. The pie is ready to go into the oven. Bake it at 180 to 200 degrees Celsius. That's about 355 to 390 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 30 to 35 minutes. Every oven is a bit different, so keep an eye on it. You'll know it's ready when the crust is puffed and golden. Once it's out of the oven, let it cool for a few minutes. This helps the filling set and makes it easier to slice. I've cut into the pie, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. The pastry is crisp and golden, the filling is creamy, and it smells amazing. I love that it tastes just as good cold as it does hot, perfect for lunchboxes or a casual dinner. Let me break off a piece so you can see the texture. Soft, creamy inside with flaky layers all around. It's one of those recipes that looks impressive, but takes hardly any time to put together. So I really hope you give this one a try. It's a great way to treat your family or guests, and it comes together in under an hour. Thanks so much for watching Sveta's menu. If you found this recipe helpful, hit the like button so YouTube shows you more videos like this. Subscribe to stay updated with new, easy, and delicious recipes every week. And leave a comment if you have questions or want to request a dish. I'd love to hear what you'd like to cook next. Bye for now, and I'll see you again soon, right here on Sveta's menu.